Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 14, Text 39 to Text 42. You can repeat Text 39 after me. Samvatsara ante hi bhavan samvatsarante hi bhavan ekaratram maya ishvaraha ekoratram mayeshvaraha ramsyati apatyani cha te ramsyatyapatyaनि cha te bhavishyanti aparani bhoho bhavishyantyaparaani bho samvatsarante hi bhavan ekaratram mayeshvaraha ramsyatyapatyaनि cha te bhavishyantyaparaani bho samvatsarante hi bhavan ekaratram mayeshvaraha ramsyatyapatyaनि cha te bhavishyantyaparaani bho. What word meaning? Samvatsara ante, at the end of every year. He, indeed, bhavan, your good self. Ekaratram, one night only. Maya, with me. Ishvaraha, my husband. Ramsyati, will enjoy sex life. Apatyani, children. Cha, also. Te, your. Bhavishyanti, will generate. Aparani, others. One after another. Boho, O my dear king. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O my dear king, you will be able to enjoy with me as my husband at the end of every year for one night only. In this way, you will have other children one after another. Can I repeat the translation? O my dear king, you will be able to enjoy with me as my husband at the end of every year for one night only. In this way, you will have other children one after another. Purport. Although Urvashi had adversely explained the nature of woman, Maharaja Pururava was very much attached to her, and therefore she wanted to give the king some concession by agreeing to be his wife for one night at the end of each year. Text 40. Antarvatnim upalakshya devim sa prayayau purim punastatra gatobdante urvashim vira mataram. Translation. Understanding that Urvashi was pregnant, Pururava returned to his palace. At the end of the year, there at Kurukshetra, he again obtained the association of Urvashi, who was then the mother of a heroic son. Text 41. Upalabhya muda yukta samuvasa taya nisham athainam urvashi praha kripanam virahaturam. Translation. Having regained Urvashi at the end of the year, King Pururava was most jubilant, and he enjoyed her company in sex for one night. But when he was very sorry at the thought of separation from her, but then he was very sorry at the thought of separation from her. So Urvashi spoke to him as follows. Text 42. Gandharvan upadhave mam stubhyam dasyanti mamiti tasya samstuvatastushta agnisthalim dadur nripa urvashim manyamanastam sobudyata charan vane. Translation. Urvashi said, "My dear king, seek shelter of the Gandharvas, for they will be able to deliver me to you again." In accordance with these words, the king satisfied the Gandharvas by prayers. And the Gandharvas, being pleased with him, gave him an Agnisthali girl who looked exactly like Urvashi. Thinking that the girl was Urvashi, the king began walking with her in the forest. But later he could understand that she was not Urvashi but Agnisthali. Thus ends the Bhakti purport and translations to Canto 9, Chapter 14, texts 39 through 42. Homa jnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So these are the words spoken by Urvashi to Maharaja Pururava. Wherein she felt compassion towards Pururava because he was so much bent upon association with her, even though she was not dedicated to him. Because of his attachment to her, he could not give her up. So Urvashi instructed him that the nature of material attraction is such that it is not permanent. It is flickering. And there is no sanctity in material relationships, in material attraction. And what is the proof? Because the object of attraction keeps changing constantly. Today you're attracted to one thing, tomorrow you reject the same thing, and then you go for another object of attraction. And then you reject that, again you go for another object of attraction. So this is the nature of material objects, persons and things. Material relationships are like that. So therefore there is no sanctity in material relationship. So Urvashi had very clearly explained to him. Still, because of his attachment to her, he could not take her good advice. Then finally, taking compassion, he said, okay, I'll give you some concession. And that's what was discussed in these verses. That one night in a year, she will be with him. And he was not very comfortable. And therefore, she advised him further, you pray to Gandharvas so that you can reunite with me again. And in accordance to these words, Pururava prayed to the Gandharvas. And being pleased with his prayers, they offered him another woman called Agnistali, not Urvashi. But Pururava mistook her to be Urvashi. But later on he realized that it was not Urvashi, I am being cheated. And then he gave up that girl. In other words, there are a lot of instructive things to be inferred, understood from these verses. We will try to understand little by little. What you want will not be offered. Something else will be offered. And that is what is the sum and substance of material life. You will want something, something else will be offered to you, delivered to you. And you will be surprised, you will be disturbed, you will be upset. And that we have seen all through our life. We want one thing, but opposite thing happens. In the Bhagavad Gita also this is being discussed in the very first chapter. Viparitani, the word is used in the Bhagavad Gita. So, Viparitani Keshava, Arjuna is telling Krishna. I expected one thing, but the exactly opposite of that is happening. That is material life. We expect one thing, but another thing will happen. So that is why we should not have faith in material life, material arrangements. That is why the Acharyas say, if you want to become Krishna conscious, first of all, you have to objectively lose faith in material arrangements in this material world. You have to lose faith. People have so much faith on material arrangements, material goals, material happiness. So much faith we have. But unless that faith is loosened, weakened, it is very difficult to become Krishna conscious. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bhoga Aishwarya Prasaktanam Taya Apahrita Chetasam Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Ekeha Kurunandana. Krishna says that we have difficulty in becoming firmly fixed up in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes devotees ask, how to become firmly fixed up in Krishna consciousness? How to get the strong determination to practice Krishna consciousness? If you give up your attraction and attachment to sense enjoyment, then your bhakti can become strong. In other words, to the degree your material attraction has not come down, your attachment to Krishna or Krishna consciousness will not take place. It is directly proportionate. Directly proportionate. If you reduce your material attraction, your spiritual attraction will increase. If you increase your material attractions, material engagements, materialistic goals, and parallelly you want to pursue Krishna consciousness, Krishna conscious goals, and increase your interest in Krishna, That will not happen. Unless you decrease your interest in material life, you cannot hope to increase the interest in Krishna consciousness. This is the secret. Now, increasing interest in material life does not mean you give up material life, give up material responsibilities. It means the moha or the false illusion that this materialistic life, materialistic relationships is the ultimate goal of life, is the supreme goal of life, is the source of all happiness, is the cause of my peace and happiness. These kind of false conclusions one should give up. As a matter of duty, one may execute one's responsibilities, but not being an illusion that they're equal to spiritual responsibilities and spiritual happiness, spiritual experience. No. And spiritual relationships. No, both are two different things. So, knowing this clearly, you can execute your respective duties daily. There's nothing wrong. And also think how you can utilize your responsibilities in serving Krishna. And in that way achieve perfection. But not to be under illusion, thinking that that is the supreme goal of life. What? The materialistic goals, materialistic relationships. No. That's why Bhagavatam is instructing in this way. Don't be in illusion. Anyway, the illusion will be very soon broken by Kala itself. Everybody has that experience, but only thing is because Maya has got two kinds of energies, because of which again and again we fall into illusion. Even knowing that it is illusion, it is false. There is direct experience given by Maya in our life. And still we will fall prey to such circumstances and situations time and again. Again and again we will seek material relationship, material enjoyment. Although we experience so much of suffering and so much of trouble it is giving me, still we will continue. Because Maya has two kinds of energies which are putting us in ignorance. What is that? The first energy is called Prakshepatmika Shakti, Avaranatmika Shakti. Avaranatmika Shakti means Maya covers the real knowledge of the soul, the real experience of the soul. That means Maya covers our spiritual traits, character, spiritual qualities. So we forget we are part and parcel of Krishna. Our nature of enjoyment is spiritual, and our nature of relationship is spiritual, and we belong to the spiritual world. Everything is of spiritual quality, which is the highest quality in relationship with Krishna. All this Maya will make us forget and make us go for the substandard material quality, material relationships, material happiness. Now if somebody becomes conscious about this and tries to come away from Maya, from her influence of ignorance, then she will next release her another energy called Prakshepatmika Shakti, called the pulling down potency. The first is the covering potency, cover the soul's real knowledge, real constitution. Pull down is, so cover his knowledge, and if he somehow overcomes that and becomes knowledgeable in good association, then she will deploy the next energy called Prakshepatmika Shakti, or the pulling down potency, wherein even if you know, still she will pull you down to Maya. That is typically the devotee's case. So we all know, so much we have heard from Bhagavatam, from Bhagavad Gita. Still we have faith in material life, material arrangements, material enjoyment, material relationships. Still we have so much hope. So that's called the pulling down potency of Maya. So You can overcome these two. Therefore, Krishna says, how can you overcome these two energies? Mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. The Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter, Krishna very decisively tells Arjuna and to all of us, unless you take shelter of me, you cannot overcome these two energies of Maya Shakti. You cannot overcome by your individual strength. Material strength or even spiritual strength, you cannot overcome. Even by your individual spiritual strength, you cannot overcome Maya's influence. So unless you take shelter of Krishna. Here we see even though Urvashi has directly instructed Pururava about all this cheating or misleading experiences, still Pururava does not come to sense. It is not appealing to him. It is not to his liking. Still, he is not getting realization. He is not getting detachment, getting detached. He is not able to develop vairagya. So, what do we conclude from this? Even though the direct instructions, still, one is not able to stand strong on those instructions. This is typically the position of the devotees also. We all hear so many instructions, still we have difficulty in following them. Why? So why we are not able to develop detachment? Why Pururava is not able to develop detachment? Give her away. Why is he so attached? So that means even if you have knowledge, even if you are convinced intellectually, still you cannot practice. See, this is a very important point brought about here. One thing is people are in ignorance about spiritual life, spiritual identity. But the other side, if you see, which is even more acute, what is that? Even if you have knowledge from the Shastra, still you don't give up material attachment. Why? That's what we say. Pururava is still not taking the instruction from Urvashi. So this needs strong faith. That means his hearing, Shravanam, is very poor. Pururava's Shravanam is very poor. Similarly, if our Shravanam is very poor, you cannot develop detachment. That is why Srimad Bhagavatam hearing is extremely important. Prabhupada made this arrangement. Every day one should hear Bhagavatam, read Bhagavatam, and chant and hear. Chant Hare Krishna loudly and hear Hare Krishna loudly. Why? To develop this faith. If you hear from the pages of Bhagavatam, you will develop that required faith to develop detachment. See? That hearing must be from Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. And that Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita also to be heard from a pure devotee of Krishna, who's completely free from all material attachments, from all anarthas, unwanted, undesirable associations. One who is completely freed from all undesirable associations and attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. From such a person, one should hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Then only it will take effect, otherwise not. Similarly, one should hear Hare Krishna from the lips of a pure devotee of Krishna for Hare Krishna to take full effect. Otherwise, it will not bear the full effect. So one needs strong faith to develop Vairagya. Faith on the words of Shastra. Oh, Urvashi is telling this. Forget Urvashi. Pururava is not listening. Lord Krishna is telling Bhagavad Gita, we are not listening. Who is Urvashi? We don't surrender to Krishna. The Acharya is telling, Vedavyasa is telling, Lord Krishna personally comes down to request surrender, actually demand surrender, and still we don't take Krishna's advice. You can just imagine, even Lord Krishna's own words of direction, still we don't act immediately. Then Urvashi's advice, why will Pururava? What will your instruction, my instruction have effect then? Things are taken for granted. So, that means faithlessness. Faith is not there. Faith, what do you mean faith? Faith means realization. Yes, this is true. What the Shastra is saying is true. I should not fall prey to material attraction. It's a downfall to the soul, to material attachments, to material relationships, and become illusioned and bewildered. These are simply diversions to the soul, to real spiritual relationships, spiritual happiness, which is of first class quality and nature. I am being cheated and misled by being offered something substandard. Like there is a story, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to tell, that there was once in a kingdom, one king was there, and he wanted to make a golden pot done. So he called for a goldsmith, and then he gave him some good amount of gold. He told him, make a golden pot and give me. He wants to drink from the golden pot. He is a king anyway. So this goldsmith took the gold, and then the king asked how much time you will take. Some X time, maybe 15 days or 20 days. And then the goldsmith returns back with the golden pot and delivers it to the king. And then the king says, what is this pot? This is, my dear king, this is a golden pot. So the king says, doesn't look like it is a golden pot. No, my lord, this is a golden pot. You gave me gold and then I made the pot from that gold. Doesn't look like, looks like an iron pot. So the goldsmith was hesitant. He was caught by the king's sharp observation. Then finally, this goldsmith murmured, no, my lord, actually, it is a golden stone pot. King said, what nonsense is this? It should be either a gold pot or a stone pot. What do you mean golden stone pot? So this goldsmith thought, anyway, the king wanted gold pot. So ultimately, you have to deliver golden pot. So he thought, let me make a stone pot and give a covering of gold on the top of that stone pot. So finally, it is a gold pot. So you got your gold pot. I am also happy because I got my gold also, and I gave you the gold also with the stone pot. So is this not cheating? So he has actually given a stone pot while claiming that it is a gold pot, golden pot. Like that, as we see also in text 42, Pururava asked for Urvashi, but the Gandharvas delivered Agnistali. So you ask one thing, something else is given to you. And if something else, is it an equal replacement? Then it's okay. If not gold, you give me platinum, it's okay. You give me diamond, it is okay. Give me diamond pot, it is okay. But you give me iron pot. So we want Satchidananda happiness. Fine, you don't give me, Maya is cheating us. At least something equal to that. You don't give me Mercedes Benz, give me Rolls Royce. Okay, good offer. Even ambassador is okay. If you give me less than ambassador, what is my position? Got the point? So like that. So we are offered such substandard material quality, and still we are falling trapped to this. So we should be very, very alert in this regard. Gold pot is different, stone pot is different. Similarly, material happiness, material attraction, material relationships is different. Material love, called actually lust, is different. And spiritual love, spiritual happiness, spiritual relationship is different. 100% different. Stone is different, gold is different. No comparison at all. No comparison. At least gold and silver, some comparison there, right? Gold and diamond, some comparison you can make. Gold and stone, what comparison can you make? There's no comparison. So, but still, as I said, if you see our practical life, still we are falling prey to all these material things. So, because our faith is not very strong. That's why we see there could be many Sanskrit scholars, there could be many pujaris. They may chant mantras, they may speak Sanskrit, they will converse in Sanskrit, they know all the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita by heart, they will deliver lectures also, but they don't follow. If you're telling so much, even 1%, why they're not following? Because in what they're speaking, they themselves don't have faith. Faith is a different aspect than simply dry knowledge. Two different things. What is the proof? How do you detect the difference? That somebody has faith and somebody does not have faith, simply is only talking, but he actually does not have faith. How do you know? If you have actually faith, you will practice what you are saying. If you don't have faith, you will not put it in practice. And if you actually have faith, there is realization. There is realization. If you don't have faith, you are not practicing, obviously. Obviously, there is no realization. Faith also means seeing reality. Actually seeing. As it is being described. Yes, I'm actually seeing. But illusion, as Bhagavatam describes, Pashyan api na pashyati. Don't have faith. Even though you are doing, you are seeing, you are acting, you really don't, you are not acting, you are not seeing with realization. See, it's a very big difference. That is why there are sometimes people who will say, chant God's name, chant Vishnu Sahasranama. They themselves will not chant. They themselves don't have faith. God will take care of everything, they may say, but they don't live that. It's very difficult. No, there's nothing to criticize here. This is the reality of life. This is where we stand. Why? Because we lack faith. Actual faith we lack. Because if you have faith, as I said, you will practice. You will take the words seriously. You will start practicing. You may fail in that practice, that is okay. But you should attempt to practice. You are given credit to your attempt, to your sincerity. Even if you fall down, that doesn't matter. Even if you fail, that doesn't matter. But you should attempt to put it in practice. In this context also, we'll discuss something shortly. Now let's come back. Then in that case, how do we develop faith? The question comes, how to develop faith then? On the Shastra, on the words of Guru and Krishna, such that I can, because if I have faith, then I can stand on those instructions strongly. Then I can avoid Maya, Maya's force and influence. And I can be steady in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, this development of faith is very important. In the Bhagavatam, the secret is given. First canto, chapter number 2, text 16. Shushrusho Shraddadhanasya Vasudeva Kata Ruchihi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. So this is the formula, secret. What is that? If you serve a pure devotee of Krishna, Syat Mahat Sevaya Vipra. Mahat Seva. Mahat here refers to a pure devotee of Krishna. Mahabhagavata. 100% pure devotee of Krishna. Mahat Sevaya. If you render service to lotus feet of a pure devotee of Krishna, that means if you serve Prabhupada or ISKCON, it also means serving ISKCON, the temple. Then Suta Muni is saying, great service is done by serving a pure devotee of Krishna. Why? Why it is great service? What is the benefit of that great service of serving a pure devotee? Shraddadhanasya Vasudeva Kata Ruchi. You will develop that faith. Shraddadhanasya. And from that faith, Vasudeva Katha Ruchihi. You will develop attraction for Vasudeva Katha. It also means Vasudeva Seva. It also means attachment to Vasudeva. Attraction to Vasudeva. It means all of these things. See, when you have attachment and attraction, very easy to be fixed up. Difficult to divert that person. Hope you get this idea. Difficult to divert the person when you're attached to something. Just like a child is attached to a toy. It's very difficult for you to make the child give up that connection with the toy. Because he's very attached to it. He's very attracted to it. Why is he attached? Because he's attracted. Ruchi, because of asakti. Asakti, because of ruchi. These are all very scientifically discussed in the Nectar of Devotion by Srila Rupa Goswami. If you're attached to something, means you're attracted to it. That is why you're attached to it. If you're not attracted, you will not be attached. So similarly, if you develop attraction to Krishna, Krishna conscious life, attraction to chanting, attraction to Bhagavatam, attraction to Vaishnava Sangha, attraction to Archa Aradhana, Archa Vigraha Aradhana, Archa Seva, Vaishnava Seva. Then you will not be attracted to anything material. So if you develop attachment to these objects, that can happen only because of attraction. If you develop spiritual attraction, you can give up material attraction. Otherwise, you cannot give up. You have to develop spiritual attraction. How to develop the spiritual attraction? By serving a pure devotee of Krishna. Not even Krishna. Because the subject of discussion is how to develop attraction to Krishna. So that comes by becoming attracted to Prabhupada first. If you are attached to Prabhupada, then that means you are attracted to Prabhupada. Or other way around. If you are attracted to Prabhupada, you will very soon become attached to Prabhupada. Then very easily you can give up material attractions. Material attractions becomes weakened, loosened. The tight knot of material bondage is slackened, loosened. Like Prabhupada says, just like suppose suppose an object is tied up 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 5 knots, 1 knot, 2 knot, 3 knot, 4 knot, 5 knot, multiple knots. The more the number of knots, the more difficult to. Right? Like that in our material life, we are entangled time and again by every single thought, word, deed. We are entangled. We are tied up. And that knot is only increasing day by day and not reducing. It becomes only difficult and more difficult to untie it. Sometimes what we do, when too many knots are there, you're not able to untie. What do? You just cut it off. Not untying. Just cut it off, finished. Problem is over. Exactly like that. By the detachment of attachment to Krishna, you can cut off the material attachment. This was the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna gives this another secret and simple technique. By attachment to spiritual things, you can develop detachment to material things. How do you develop that attachment? If you have attraction. So how do you develop attraction? It's a very, very common thing. There's no big philosophy here. How to develop attraction? Very simple. You just try to know who that person is. You will become attracted. Why will I become attracted? If he has some special qualities, then you will become attracted. Oh, he's a very kind person, very intelligent person, very compassionate person, very smart, very powerful, very rich, etc., etc., etc. Some special features, special qualities you see in that person, you become attracted naturally. Very straightforward, very genuine, not a cheater, can have full trust. So you hear more and more of such kind of qualities in a person, naturally you become attracted to him. You don't find such persons in this world, actually. But a Facebook profile will put all these things, but that's not a reality. In Facebook profile, you will find all these qualities in the person. The reality is opposite of that. But you can see the pure devotee of Krishna, all these things actually present. It's a personification of all these divine qualities. So then you become attracted. Then you'll become attached. Then easy to develop material detachment. So when you serve a pure devotee of Krishna, when you become attached to a pure devotee of Krishna, then you will develop faith on the Shastra. When you hear from the lips of a pure devotee, faith app is installed in you. Transcendental faith is installed in your consciousness, in your heart, upon your soul. That is transcendental faith, not material faith. Transcendental convictions, not material convictions. So these things are very important to be known. So Shushtusho Shraddhadhanasya Vasudeva Katarichi. Then you develop attraction to Vasudeva. Post that. After developing your attraction to Prabhupada, to the pure devotee of Krishna, to the Acharya, and developing service attitude. Developing attachment to Guru means developing attachment to his seva. When you develop attachment to his seva, then you develop attachment to his instructions. This is another secret. Somehow you should develop sufficient attraction and seriousness to serve Prabhupada, serve the temple. That's why you have a lot of opportunity for seva. Take maximum opportunity to render seva to temple. That is the secret for the instructions, to develop faith on the Shastra. By serving a pure devotee, you develop faith on Shastra. And once you develop this faith on Shastra, it will go deep in your heart. You can remain firm upon those instructions. And once you follow the instructions, then this will subsequently lead to realization. Realization means seeing the truth. Actually seeing the truth. Not philosophically, not intellectually. Then you can stick on the spiritual platform. Then you will be very strong in Krishna consciousness, in your spiritual practices, so much so that No amount of deviation, distraction can divert your attention. You'll be very firm. You'll not give up. Somebody tells anything against chanting, against the temple, against Krishna consciousness, you will not be deviated. You'll be very strong. Very strong. So this is the secret. Krishna also has explained this point in the Bhagavad Gita, stressed this point in the 4th chapter, verse number 34. Krishna says that Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Sevaya, he has said, seva to Guru is first thing. Seva to Guru, seva to Prabhupada is first thing. Seva to Vaishnavas is first thing. Then only questioning. Then only questioning. Then such questioning becomes fruitful. Prabhupada says in that same purport toward the end, when you approach a bona fide spiritual master who has seen the truth, and then you serve him and then you inquire from him submissively, he will instruct you. Those instructions will become a realization for you. It will change your life. It will change your life. You can see that happening globally. Prabhupada, wherever he went across the world, he could change people's life practically in a realistic manner. He could bring about the detachment from the Atma, from the individual. He could bring about the attraction and attachment to Krishna. Prabhupada made it possible. Not just some shlokas of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam or some formal visit to a temple. No, he actually made devotees. Because Prabhupada has devotion in his heart. Therefore, he is able to deliver that pure devotion which he has upon the sincere seeker. That's why Chaitanya Charitamrita also says, Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhaktilata Beach. By the combined mercy of, but first is Guru. Guru Krishna Prasad, it says combined mercy of Guru and Krishna. But the first personality addressed and advised here by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is Guru. First is Guru Prasada, then Krishna Prasada. So Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhaktilata Beach. If you can receive the seed of devotion, Bhaktilata Bija, from Guru, then you will get Krishna. Then there is no more material attraction. Same thing is told by Prahlad Maharaj. The 7th canto. Naisham matis tavat urukramangrim sprishati anartha upagama yad arthaha mahiyasam pada rajobhishekam nishkinchananam na prineta yavat. Naisham matis tavat urukramangrim nishkinchananam na prineta yavat. So there is a rhyming used here. Tavat yavat. The first and last line. It's actually a clause. It's actually a clause. What is this clause? It is saying, so long this as long as this condition is fulfilled, you will get this. So long you don't fulfill this condition, you will not get this. Just like if you pass 12th standard, you can have eligibility for entering into degree. So long you don't pass 12th standard, you cannot enter into degree. Right? So long you work, you'll get your salary. No work, no salary. So like that, so long, this verse with Prahlad Maharaj is saying, you don't take the dust from the lotus feet of the pure devotee and smear it upon your body, you cannot develop attraction to Krishna, bhakti to Krishna, devotion to Krishna, faith on Krishna's words will not come. Then why will you practice? You don't have faith, why will you practice? Like people don't chant. Why? Sometimes we become very disturbed. Prabhu is not becoming devotee. He is not becoming devotee. He is not chanting. He is a non-devotee. He doesn't take prasadam. He is in Maya. There's no point in accusing. These are all immature devotees. You do not know the science of Bhakti Yoga. You have to be a spiritual engineer. Why is that faith not developing on him? That you have to detect. Just like the car is in repair, you should know as an engineer, if you're a mechanical engineer, what is the problem exactly there? Similarly, the bhakti is not developing. Attraction to Krishna is not developing. Rather, day by day, my attraction to Maya is increasing. Something is going wrong. How can that happen? So, Prahlad Maharaj is saying, so long you don't take the dust of the lotus feet of pure devotee of Krishna, you cannot give up material attraction. Mahiyasam pada rajaha. Pada raja means the dust from the lotus feet of Krishna, of the pure devotee of Krishna. Not even, Prahlad Maharaj is not even saying the dust, the charana dhuli. He is not saying the dust from the lotus feet of Krishna. The dust from the lotus feet of a pure devotee of Krishna, smear upon that one. What does this indicate? That means go on touching Prabhupada's feet. Does it mean that? It also means that. But more importantly, it actually means by serving the pure devotee. So that's why one must take up seva. 24 hours is less actually. But whatever is practical, one can begin and aspire, pray to Krishna to increase your seva time to Prabhupada and to the temple. Serve the pure devotee of Krishna. See the difference. So, and also when you serve, you will develop attraction to hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Sometimes people say, again this common question, somehow very difficult to read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Don't have attraction. Sufficient heat is not there. What to do? Serve the pure. Develop attraction to chanting also. Develop attraction to hearing Bhagavatam. You will develop attraction to Vaishnava Sangha. Everything one after the other will open up. You will see that. All begins from seva to pure devotee of Krishna. Then, giving up attraction to sex life, meaning a substandard quality of happiness. Sex life means many things. It is just not some gross contact of a man and woman. It actually also means attraction to material objects. It is also sex life. Attraction to being carried away by name, fame, recognition is also deeper aspects and subtler aspects of sex life. And somebody is very interested in being recognized by others. Somebody is very interested in, is very conscious about his pratishtha, what others are thinking about me. How am I placed in a certain group? How am I recognized in a certain group, in a certain society, in a certain relationship? What is that person's opinion about me? All these things, different shades of sense gratification. So, you can very easily come out of all these traps if you're attached to a pure devotee. It will be very easy to sail through all these difficulties. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Great rishis have failed. What to speak of us? So, what are the solutions? One thing is, I will talk about 3 solutions now. As much possible, better to be away from the sense object. Because we have to take practical action also, right? So, better to be away from the sense object. That is why Narada Muni says, man and woman are like fire and butter. Woman is like fire, man is like butter pot. Butter. So better, because you cannot bring the butter to the fire and say, okay, now you don't melt, now you don't melt, now you don't melt. You cannot do that. How is it possible? So better to keep the butter and fire away. Because bringing them together, you cannot say, no, 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 you should not melt that. Similarly, the association between man and woman should be highly restricted. If you bring them together all the time and then tell them, no, 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 don't become attracted, no, 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 don't do this, no, 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 don't do that, no, 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 don't talk like this, don't chat like that, it is not going to work. Don't become attracted, this is all Maya. This philosophy will not come into action. No philosophy will work that time. When the emotions are high, no philosophy will work there. So therefore, one of the suggestions is to keep the sense object away. Therefore, there is separation between man and woman. Not because of dislike or hatred, but protection for both. Otherwise, they'll be offered substandard thing, ambassador, instead of Rolls Royce. And you're told that it is Rolls Royce. And you sit down in the ambassador car, da 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 da, so much sound. Like I went to Bangalore 2 weeks back. So one devotee was used to drive a Maruti 800. Then he drove an SUV. I said, what is this? I didn't find I reached Bangalore only. When I drive the Maruti 800, it's like driving a lorry. So much I became exhausted. So like that. So the association is restricted. Narada Muni also gives a practical solution. Can you completely separate? No. So he says that anyada yavad arthakrit. Only for important business they can come together. Come together means for service, important work. After that, both should go their own way. That's all. No discussions and no associations. No. Then it is risky. Then you will be trapped in material attraction, substandard material relationships, and you have to be happy with that. And Urushi is clearly telling, Bhagavatam is still will be difficult. So that's the first thing, is the sense object must be away. Even the other objects also. Second possible solution is one should divert one's mind to some other subject matter. That is the second very practical suggestion. If you don't have proper engagement, pressing engagement, absorbing engagement, it is very difficult. You require to take responsibility. You require to take pressure, or you require to divert your mind to something very absorbing. Then also it is possible. You have to be engaged. If you're free, don't have any work, again, naturally the mind will go only to, as Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj says, money and woman and wine. It will go only to that. So that's another thing. So divert the mind's attention to some important work or subject. You have to be busily engaged. Of course, a sub part of that, which I said, there are two aspects. One is busily engaged, no time. You should take responsibility. The third aspect, which I already explained, is something which should be absorbing your attention, or which you like very much in Krishna consciousness, as far as devotees are concerned. You may like prasadam, you may like sankirtana. Okay, go ahead with that. Hear more sankirtana, apart from the basic sadhana. If you like reading Bhagavatam, read more. If you like taking prasadam, take more. Something which can absorb your attention. You like to hear more Prabhupada lectures, although we say, hear one Bhagavatam class, read maybe half an hour, 1 hour, and then go for seva, but then your mind is very disturbed. Better read more because you like reading very much. Better hear more Bhagavatam because you like Bhagavatam. Better chant more because you like chanting very much. You can increase the dosage. Just like the doctor also, that insulin he will increase, right? The dosage if needed. If the disease is not coming down, he'll increase the dosage. So increase your chanting, increase your reading, increase your Vaishnava Sangha. Different ways. Increase your deity worship. So these things will help us. So I'll stop here. Granthat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. I have some announcement.